has no excuse. Nation of Islam, which is another school of thought that so-called Negroes, black, coloreds, Africans say that they belong to, wearing a fez just like this. And I'm not changing my tone because it's about time that these punk, fake, black power, whatever they call themselves, get spoken to the way that they're supposed to get spoken to. Because they sold out the movement. They sold out the prophet since 1913. They sold out the prophet Noble Drew Ali. Look at Elijah Muhammad with a fez. Ask any nation of Islam, where's their fez right now? I understand Prophet said, yeah, we can't speak agitating to people, but that was 1913. This is 2010. And he said that new Moors are going to come with their eyes wide open and they're going to fulfill his law that he laid down.
Reserve UCC 1-2071-103. Too much fraud, signatures lifted without smoking a backwood. A coke lime sniff bids over bonds and chattel that can't move. YouTube Moors and court show you what to do. Stop playing, I'm saying, quoting abundance. Stop saying you're rich with nothing of substance. Bankrupt before you're born, still in debt. All caps my name, hold me liable for debt. Drew Ali said they're gonna tax you to death. My queen T is Kyle, not to Cal like meth. Moors from the north where you can see your breath. I'm the white man, blacks are like what the F. Descendants of the great white brotherhood, not falling for the pseudo witchcraft with Hollywood. Every earthquake isn't hot mother nature. It's pissed and it's not the European that hates your actions. Blaming with no shame man. Staying civil more tooths and got the zoo animal taming. El Haj Malik told you the truth. Most still under the bamboozle, tricks and dupe. Perm in the hair trying to be like Snoop. Taliban killing US, not American troops. US on the tanks and warplanes. America's a continent, you fall for all games. Getting insulted by man-made caricatures. Sell memory stores, burnt and suppressed literature. Prophets come to save nations from the wrath. More science, it's synonymous with math. Negative status, got you like stats on a graph. Rights in a negative status, they just laugh. Prophets come to save nations from the wrath. More science, it's synonymous with math. Negative status, got you like stats on a graph. Rights in a negative status, makes them laugh. I listen to blog talk to hear how you think. I'm watching these frauds walk in fashions of pink. Y'all still don't get it. Fam, it's raining fish. I see your mind's weak if you claim to wish. Won't use your will of thought projection. Calling yourself black keeps you in project sections. Thinking with wrong heads gets YouTube erections. Thinking it's government but it's corporate elections. I'm on YouTube watching Taj all day. Great Seal, MST classes and Roz Bay. Call me biased, that's just your opinion. I call you pious if you claim to be Christian. Black Code and Nicene Council victims lost your birthright by the Spanish Inquisition. That's not what it says. Study and see for yourself and your Moors. Don't take it from me. And Moors isn't some European term. It's short for Moroccan. So you must learn to know thyself. Get out the race class. Recognize Ali, who came to save you from the wrath. Prophets come to save nations from the wrath. More science, it's synonymous with math. Negative status, got you like stats on a graph. Rights in a
Islam and greetings, Moors. Welcome back to another episode of Pardon the Interjection. I am your host, Supreme L. And I want to give extremely high honors to our, mine, and your illustrious Prophet, Noble Drew Ali, Sharif Abdul Ali. And here on Partner Interjection, we dig up information to divulge to the people in the upliftment of fallen humanity. And yes, we have made a long drop in our fall, but we're on the way up, and there's a lot of Moors waking up, and there's a lot of Moors that's woke. And we still have some brothers and sisters out here that are just Partner Interjection. Dumb asses. Okay, and they still stuck on that European diaspora, but we're going to beat it out of them. We're going to pull it out of them. Okay, but what I want to first do is I want to go in on and read out of the Holy Quran of Moorish Holy Temple of Science, Circle 7 Quran, chapter 3. And here we go. Again, Elihu met, chapter 3 is Elihu's lessons, the unity of life. Again, Elihu met his pupils in the sacred grove and said, "No man lives unto himself, for every living thing is bound by cords to every other living thing. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will love and not demand love in return. They will not do to other men what they would not have other men do unto them. There are two selves, the higher and the lower self. The higher self is human spirit clothed with soul, made in the form of Allah. The lower self, the carnal self, the body of desires, is a reflection of higher self, distorted by the murky ethers of the flesh. The lower self is an illusion and will pass away. The higher self is Allah in man and will not pass away. The higher self is the embodiment of truth. The lower self is truth reversed, and so is falsehood manifest. The higher self is justice, mercy, love, and right. The lower self is what the higher self is not. The lower self breeds hatred, slander, lewdness, murders, theft, and everything that harms. The higher self is mother of the virtues and the harmonies of life. The lower self is rich in promises, but poor in blessedness and peace. It offers pleasure, joy, and satisfying gain, but gives unrest, misery, and death. It gives men apples that are lovely to the eye and pleasant to the smell. Their cores are full of bitterness and gall. If you would ask me what to study, I would say, yourselves. And when you well have studied them, and then would ask me what to study next, I would reply, yourselves. How would no, he who knows well, his lower self knows the illusions of the world, knows of the things that pass away, and he who knows his higher self know Allah, knows well the things that cannot pass away. 3. Blessed is the man who has made purity and love his very own. He has been ransomed for the perils of the lower self and is himself his higher self. Men seek salvation from an evil that they deem a living monster of the netherworld, and they have gods that are but demons in disguise, all powerful yet full of jealousy and hate and lust, whose favors must be bought with costly sacrifice of fruits and of the lives of birds and animals and humankind. And yet these gods possess no ears to hear, no eyes to see, no heart to sympathize, no power to save. This evil is a myth. These gods are made of air, clothed with shadows of a thought. The only devil from which men must be redeemed is self, the lower self. If man would find his devil, he must look within. His name is self. If man would find his Savior, he must look within. And when the demon self has been dethroned, the Savior, love, will be exalted to the throne of power. The David of the light is purity, who slays the strong Goliath of the dark, and seats the Savior, love, upon the throne. And that was chapter 3, coming from the Circle 7 Quran. Elihu's lessons, the unity of love. Now, I want to go in to, let's see right here. We got a little bit of an interesting book today that we want to go into, and I just want to read a couple of topics. Well, the table of contents of this book, okay? And I apologize that the front is missing, so I don't know the name of the book again. I might have said it in one of my past shows, but I don't know the name of this book because I don't have the front page, the cover. But the table of contents are: note from the publisher, preface by Taj Tariq Bey, partner interjection. Peace and blessings to that brother Amir Taj Tariq Bey. And we continue. Take your place amongst the affairs of men, common law, the automobile as personal property, the art of works employed to trick the people. The servant has become the master. Let the studies begin. Ruling by Janet Reno, former United States Attorney General. Insurance gambling is not mandatory. All license registrations are unconstitutional. Regarding the straw, federal government takes over state. Statutes have no jurisdiction over people. Facing your accuser. Determining when a Miranda is required. Penalty of perjury. Defining district courts of the United States. The laws of contract regarding DMV. Who do statutes apply to? Keeping the DMV arrangement. Critical thinking. Being asked for identification. Identifying fraudulent elements of driving instrument. Privilege versus unalienable rights. Tolls or taxes. Jurisdiction. Aboriginal to the land. You are the law. Codes are for government employees only. What is coram nobis and coram non judice? To be or not to be a corporation. Important note regarding UCCs. All rights reserved. Only declared national is protected internationally. More stare decisis. And if anyone knows the name of that book, please feel free to drop it in the comments section or email me the name and I'll throw it back out there for you. But what we're going to get into is the first one is going to be we're going to do this like so. Being asked for identification. When you are pulled over and asked for identification, as we discussed earlier, you do not have to produce any document. This is a protection by the 5th article of the Bill of Rights. If you do not produce any documentation, such as a driving instrument, there is no implied contract and no law that says a human being cannot freely travel on the land, free of harassment, within the rights secured by the Constitution, which have nothing to do with statutes of the DMV agency. And pardon the interjection, remember that the Constitution, does not give you rights. It secures your pre-existing rights. Okay? Pardon the interjection, and we continue. No state government entity has the power to allow or deny passage on the highways, byways, nor waterways, transporting his vehicles and personal property for either recreation or business, but by being subject only to local regulations, i.e., safety, caution, traffic light speed limits, etc. Travel is not a privilege requiring licensing, vehicle registration, or forced insurances. And see the case law, Chicago Coach Company versus City of Chicago, 227 Illinois 200 169 NE 22. If you have determined that you erred by declaring true that which isn't true, you have an obligation to notify the other party to the contract so that steps can be taken to correct the fraud. And there's a lot, partner interjection, there's a lot of that going on right now, especially with so-called driving and licensing and all this crap that we as Moorish Americans do not have to jump through. And we're going to clear that up, and we're clearing that up now. And we continue. Identifying fraudulent elements of the driving instrument. There is no statute of limitation on fraud, and an agreement does not become valid over the course of time when there are elements of fraud found in the inception of the agreement. In the case of the driver's license or driver's instrument, it can be easily demonstrated that fraud existed at the time the contracting parties first met. 1. The party wanting the benefit/privileges offered by the DMV was unaware that the DMV participated in the regulation of interstate commerce. 2. The party wanting benefits/privileges from the DMV was unaware that the term driver represented one engaged in government-regulated commercial traffic activity. 3. The party wanting benefits/privileges from the DMV was unaware that the term motor vehicle describes a device used for commercial purposes. 4. The party wanting benefits/privileges from the DMV was unaware that the license issued by the DMV authorizes engagement in privileged government-regulated commercial activity. 5. The party wanting benefits/privileges from the DMV was unaware that in order to receive such benefits/privileges, they would have to waive their constitutionally secured inalienable rights. Inalienable rights. 6. The party wanting benefits/privileges from the DMV was unaware that in order to get the benefits/privileges offered by the DMV, they must first alter their primary citizenship acquired at birth to that of a second-class citizen without access to their fundamental rights. 7. The party wanting benefits/privileges from the DMV must first enter a federal government welfare program, Social Security. 8. The party wanting benefits/privileges from the DMV was unaware that they were about to enter an alleged irrevocable agreement. 9. The party wanting benefits/privileges from the DMV thought they were required to get a license before they could lawfully use their property on the streets and highways. 10. The party wanting benefits/privileges from the DMV was unaware that they could not be compelled to transfer an interest in their private property to the DMV. Now, that says a lot, and I want y'all to partner interjection. I want you to really expound on them. Them 10 points right there. I want you to really look at that and study that. Study them 10 points. Just study. Like the prophet say, study, study, study. Study them 10 points right there. And see what you come to. And we continue. Privilege versus unalienable rights. What does the license/driving instrument actually give you? The license permits activity that would be illegal without the license. Licenses authorizes the exercise of privileged activity. The privilege to be exercised is inferior to unalienable or fundamental birth rights secured by both state and United States Republic constitutions. Moreover, a distinction must be observed between the regulations of an activity which may be engaged in as a matter of right and one carried on by government services or permission. Packard versus Banton, Banton, 264 U.S. 140, 145. The term license implies a divestiture of right or title by the licensee to the property which is subject to the license. A license is a mere revocable privilege to do an act or series of acts upon land and excludes the right or title thereto. Eastman versus Piper, 229p, 1002, 1003. Graverly Ford Canal Company versus Pope and Talbot Land Company, 178p, 155. And it gives you a couple more other court cases, partner interjection. And we continue. The only limitations found restricting the right of the state to condition the use of the public highways as a means of vehicular transportation for compensation are: 1. That the state must not exact of those it permits to use the highways for hauling for gain that they shall surrender any of their inherent U.S. constitutional rights or U.S. constitutional rights as a condition precedent to obtaining permission for such use. Riley versus Lawson. Okay. Now, that's a mouthful right there and a brain load that you need to get into and check that out and look it up and do some studying on that, because I do employ y'all and I implore you to study these. Study, because no one is going to save you. No one is going to save you. You're going to save yourself. The prophet said it best. I brought information to save a nation. Now you take it to save yourself. Nobody's going to save you. All right. You have to study for yourself, because when it comes time to it, all this paperwork, all this books and crap like that you want to say you want to show and prove, it's not going to be about that. It's going to be about, can you confess it? Can you speak it? Can you regurgitate it, if you will? That's what it's going to be. Can you say who you really are without looking at the palm of your hand with a paper in it or a book? Tell me who you are. Don't show me. Can you tell me who you are? And partner interjection, and we continue. Aboriginal to the land, or aboriginal to the land as a question. You are aboriginal and indigenous to the land. You are the heiress and heir, or heir and heiress. Therefore, you don't have to pay for your land and all that comes from it. If you pay for anything, it is a tax, also called a fee or charge. When you purchase household items, which includes food, which is a resource of your land, and you are asked to pay for the resources that come from your land, you are paying a tax. This is an act of fraud. Congress cannot authorize a trade or business within a state in order to tax it. License tax cases 72 U.S. 46218 LED 497 5 Wall 462 AFTR 2224 1866. If anything, those who are utilizing your land owe you a tax, as is indicated in the letter from George Washington addressed to the Sultan of Morocco in 1789, wherein George Washington apologizes for not paying their tribute to the Sultan for the use of the land. The word mark was utilized commonly representing payment, just as they utilize it today, for instance, in casinos as markers, which denotes money. The following is an excerpt from the letter. The time necessarily employed in the arduous task and the disarrangements occasioned by so great thou peaceable a revolution will apologize and account for your majesty's not having received those regularly advised marks of attention from the United States which the friendship and magnanimity of your conduct toward them afforded them reason to expect. The following excerpt from that same letter is to show that these lands are in fact the dominions of the Moors, descendants of Morocco, born in North America, northwest of Mexico, northwest Africa. The encouragement with your majesty has been pleased generously to give to our commerce with your dominions. The punctuality with which you have caused the treaty with us to be observed, and the just and gracious measures taken in the case of Captain Proctor, make a deep impression on the United States and confirm their respect for and attachment to your imperial majesty. Now, if that doesn't tell you something right there, and I partner interjection, I implore you all to look up, and I think it is Documents of American History. Yes, I think that is it. I think that's where it is, the Documents of American History. Look up George Washington's letter to the Sultan of Morocco, 1789. And that letter drops a bombshell here. Trust, it drops a bombshell. That's why it's not taught in schools. You will not find that letter in any history book. Any history book. You'll find it online, like Documents of American History, and somewhere maybe in a college vault somewhere. But you will not find that in the mainstream history books where our people are. You will not find it. So they say, thank you for the internet. Now, thank you for the internet. Now, that's why they try to shut it down. But it's not going to be stopped, though, you know. But yes, please, I implore y'all to find that letter, look up that letter, read that letter, and show it to everybody you can. Okay? Because that's another hidden mystery that, you know, we uncovered. You know, and that speaks volumes. It speaks volumes, family. Okay? And we're going to continue. You are the law. When a citizen is attempting to enforce the Constitution, partner interjection, what the prophet say? What prophet would you always say? Enforce the Constitution. Okay? Partner interjection. And we continue. When a citizen is attempting to enforce the Constitution, as herein shown, he is doing so not for himself alone, but also for others, as a private attorney general, vindicating a policy that the Constitution writers considered of the highest priority. Newman versus Piggy Park Enterprises. In such a case, there can be no intent on the part of the accused to violate the law, as the purpose is to secure enforcement of the supreme law, the Constitution. The supreme law of the land is the United States Republic Constitution. See Article V1 or Article 6, I think. Okay, I'm not quite sure, but I think it's Article 6, reading this Roman numeral. As Moors of North America, we must enforce the law by enforcing the Constitution. Get your Constitution, read it. Read it, study it. And we continue. Codes are for government employees only. Codes, including United States codes, statutes, and ordinances, regulate government employees only. Within the code itself, it indicates what the obligation, responsibility of each government official is, what their salaries are, and how much that position is bonded for. These codes, statutes, and ordinances can never apply to the people. No government can tell the people what they can do at all, ever. United States Title Code 18, Section 241 and 242 are references utilized quite often in many writs. Therefore, it is wise to become familiar with the full context of what these two sections entail as follows. Title 18, Part 1, Chapter 13, Section 241, Conspiracy Against Rights. If two or more persons conspire to injure, oppress, threaten, or intimidate any person in any state, territory, commonwealth, possessions, or district in the free exercise or enjoyment of any right or privilege secured to him by the Constitution or laws of the United States, or because of his having so exercised the same, or if two or more persons go in disguise on the highway or on the premises of another with intent to prevent or hinder his free exercise or enjoyment of any right or privilege so secured, they shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 10 years or both. And if death results from the acts committed in violation of this section, or if such acts include kidnapping or an attempt to kidnap, aggravated sexual abuse, or an attempt to commit aggravated sexual abuse, or an attempt to kill, they shall be fined under this title or imprisoned for any term of years or for life or both, or may be sentenced to death. Title 18, Part 1, Chapter 13, Section 242. Give me 1 second, pardon me. Okay, pardon me, I'm back. Pardon interjection. Okay, Title 18, Part 1, Chapter 13, Section 242. Deprivation of rights under color of law. Whoever under color of law, of any law, statute, ordinance, regulation, or custom, willfully subjects any person in any state, territory, commonwealth, possession, or district to the deprivation of any rights, privileges, or immunities secured or protected by the Constitution or laws of the United States, or to different punishments, pains, or penalties on account of such persons being an alien, or by reason of his color or race, than are prescribed for the punishment of citizens, shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 1 year or both. And if bodily injury result from the acts committed in violation of this section, or if such acts include the use, attempted use, or threatened use of a dangerous weapon, explosives, or fire, shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 10 years or both. And if death results from the acts committed in violation of this section, or if such acts include kidnapping or an attempt to kidnap, aggravated sexual abuse, or an attempt to commit aggravated sexual abuse, or an attempt to kill, shall be fined under this title or imprisoned for any term of years or for life, or both, or may be sentenced to death. Now, partner interjection family, y'all get familiar with them too right there. That's Title 18, Part 1, Chapter 13, Section 241. Title 18, Part 1, Chapter 13, Section 242. Okay? And that's real. Really real. And what is it? Really real. Okay? And, yeah, just familiarize yourself with them codes. Get them, download them, print them out, and keep them and study. Study. Okay? And, partner interjection, and we continue. What is coram nobis, coram nobis, and coram non juris? How is it used? Coram nobis is the avertment of jurisdiction refined. Coram non juris is default judgment of the coram nobis, which automatically is fraud, treason, and grounds for suit. Review and study the following for a better understanding. The court cannot bring in a living, breathing person and have jurisdiction over them. The court may only bring in a corporation. Hence, when you are served with papers, when you are served with paperwork from the court, your name is listed in all caps, which denotes you are a corporation. The law says that if you do not declare that you are a non-corporate entity, you are a corporation. Now, did y'all just hear that? Because I want you to get that right. Get that clear. Get that clear. It says, the law says that if you do not declare that you are a non-corporate entity, you are a corporation. You're dead. You're nothing. You're a lie. You're fraud. You do not exist, but you're there. So, what did the prophet say? If you don't do nothing else, declare your nationality. Wow. That's rich. That's rich, family. Partner interjection. And we continue. To be or not to be a corporation. If you truly are a corporation or corporate person, the court must file any court actions with the United States Department of State in Washington, D.C., and they must file any court actions with the corporate officer of your corporation. Since the court has never done this, they have no jurisdiction, no judicial authority, even when assuming you are a corporation. Are you? Secondly, and of great pertinence to living, breathing people, the court has no jurisdiction to bring a living, breathing person before it. The court knows this because they failed to tell us they had no jurisdiction. They have committed fraud. In addition, living, breathing, non-corporate entities have immunity from persecution under the 11th Amendment, which states as follows: the judicial power of the United States shall not be construed to extend to any suit in law or equity, commenced or persecuted against one of the United States by citizens of another state or by citizens or subjects of any foreign state. As stated earlier, all courts, including those in Washington, D.C., are foreign states to Moors. This includes the United States District Courts, federal courts in parentheses, and circuit courts, which we already know are not Article 3 courts and have no jurisdiction. The coram nobis, which is filed first into the court, tells the court that it has made an error in bringing into their court a non-corporate entity. Moorish American nationals and full life, flesh and blood breathing divine human being. It requires the plaintiff, i.e. the one bringing the charges against you, typically the prosecutor's office, in parentheses, to prove that the court has jurisdiction. Coram nobis, before us ourselves, apply to writs of error directed to another branch of the same court, ergo from the full bench to the court at nisi prius. Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition. It is important to know that the judge may not and cannot obtain jurisdiction by simply saying he has jurisdiction. The judge does not establish jurisdiction. The plaintiff, your accuser, in parentheses, must establish jurisdiction of the court, and they cannot do that because they never had jurisdiction per any laws. Note that the plaintiff, accuser, in parentheses, may not tell you that the court has jurisdiction. The plaintiff must provide written proof of jurisdiction and must file that written proof in the case. Jurisdiction may be challenged at any time, even if your case is already finished and you were found guilty and sentenced to the court. You can still file the paperwork and challenge jurisdiction. When the plaintiff fails to provide jurisdiction, coram non judice, it means that the judge in the case had no jurisdiction. Therefore, any sentence or finding of the court is void. When a thing is void, it simply means that it has never existed in the eyes of the law. Coram non judice, in presence of a person, not a judge. When a suit is brought and determined in a court which has no jurisdiction in the matter, then it is said to be coram non judice, and the judgment is void. Black Laws Dictionary, 4th edition. This is fraud from the inception, because they already knew you were not a corporation, and they knew they do not have jurisdiction over the body. The moment you walked into the room, everyone was clear you were not a corporation, and you are not an officer of the corporation. This is a good measure to utilize. You are being forced, compelled, to go into a room that is called a court. Your personal property is compelled from you by what is supposed to be government officials, whose sole obligation is to protect the birthrights of the people. Instead, your time, energy, finance, and health, to name a few, is injured. The next step for you to take is to immediately sue. And we're going to hold it off right there. We're going to come back and we're going to go into this book some more. This is a really good book right here, y'all. This is really, really good, okay? And like I say, it's been stare decisis. Court cases has stare decisis already known. It's a known. Stare decisis is a known. It's already known in law. It's law. And we're going to come back into this book. And please, family, if you know the name of this book, again, please drop it in the comment section or email me. I know my email me the name of it. And like I said, I really appreciate that. We're going to be going into another good book also in the next coming couple of shows, and it's called Correcting the Position of the IRS and Social Security Contribution Tax by Sister Anna Edel. And this is a really good book to get into, and I dropped a couple tidbits of it on a couple past shows, but this is a really, really good book to get into, and I really appreciate my big brother Loon Bay. I that's my brother, yo. That's my bro. I appreciate you, Loon, and Sister Nyla Bay, his mate. I really appreciate this book, y'all. This is a really, really good book right here. I haven't gotten through the whole thing, but with you, family, and time, we're going to get through it, and this will be one of the he studies, we study. And again, in a few days or so, I will be going back into the Clock of Destiny, Your Master Key of Civilization, the 12 Signs of the Zodiac, Volume 1, and Clock of Destiny 2, Moorish Constitution and Nationality. We're going to be getting into that also. So, like I say, we have a lot coming up, planned up for the next couple of days for the shows that's going to be going out for your family. And like I say, as always, don't believe me. Go check it out for yourself, and you'll be amazed at the jewels you'll find on your treasure hunt, family. You know, I want to say, I love you, family. I love you, I love you, I love you, and it's going to be a good day coming soon. And everybody waking up, and we're going to do our thing. Everybody's waking up, and there's a lot more of us waking up by the second. Okay, so with that being said, I want to say, take you out with Islam, love, and peace forevermore.
I can hear the custies agree in the back, using Corsica Moors to say that we're black. Students think they're masters and teaching is whack. I love my people, so I tell them they're not black. It's an additive that's evident, can't you see that? It's not a hero definition, but a natural fact. Demons come with locks and pushing conscious crack. More doesn't mean black, it means Moroccan. To say it means black, the European you're mocking. Here's some black water, why turn me down? If black according to science doesn't mean death, you clown. King Noble always exposing frozen thought like buckshot. Let me get you open, I'm the white man, real white supremacist. You're a troublemaker, Black Dennis the menace to your own society. She's not a black goddess, like God can't be fought. Muhammad Wallace, you're down on YouTube begging for views. Mental copper sulfate trying to kill my roots. That's so Moorish, you don't know you're killing yourself. Always challenging Morris thinkers, never challenge yourself. Always uploading to the YouTube forum, licking a steak knife, pushing conscious porn, disagreeing with everything, even contradicting. Not nation building, but consciously Mason children. Prophets come to save nations from the wrath. More science, it's synonymous with math. Negative status, got you like stats on a graph. Rights in a negative status, they just laugh. Prophets come to save nations from the wrath. More science, it's synonymous with math. Negative status, got you like stats on a graph. Rights in a negative status, makes them laugh. If you hear, get your hand on my pocket in my lecture. No El Hajj Malik repeat, I betcha. Sergeant of the Moorish Unified Front toward Islam. Twist your arm like a blunt, won't spark it, but like Tiger Claw, debark it. Before anyone saw, not Cain, but I'm raw. Long live Iron Sheik, slaying the weak. Rhyming about rims, spinning on their Jeep. Making a mockery of the art and hard work put in by the veterans, now they gotta work. Guru in a coma, rap heart attack. I'm sure a premier beat would bring the guard back. Can't give it too much time in my rhyme, but I know mostly in rhyme they doing the crime. Build a ball court, a whack remedy. Living right around me is my worst enemy. I see that they look just like me. Award for hip hop when you're not an MC. Mastering the ceremony, very lonely. Rapping genuine, riding the beat ponies. Scrap the DJ and dancer like a phony. If you see me in some skinny jeans, you know they clone me. If you hear me rapping about crap, I'm Coke B. So do me like Big L or J and smoke me. I see some of my worst enemies live right around me and look just like me. I see some of my worst enemies live right around me and look just like me.